Crazy story. The lady that runs the place, she could hear a bell all the time. So my friend was going to take down our Christmas tree and she thought I was there and she was in the house, just her and the lady run the house. She was like, I just heard the doorbell and I think Ashley's there. The lady was like, we don't have a doorbell. It's a buzzer. She's like, no, it was definitely a bell. And she's like, oh, you've heard bells.
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table podcast brought to you by WindowStill. I'm your host, Kat, and I am here today with Ashley Smith of Oasis Realty. How you doing, Ashley?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for being here with us today. So I kind of want to start with the beginning of your career, maybe even like pre-real estate. You were in property management, correct?
Yes. So I started in property management, and that's actually how I ended up getting my real estate license. And then I did that for quite a while, and then I went and I worked at a bank buying real estate debt, which was very interesting. So learning even more about real estate, and that's when I decided to use my real estate license to actually become an agent and buy and sell property. So, and that was in 2020 that I started actually buying and selling as an agent. So
that's awesome. And did someone... like your husband is was a real estate agent at the time, right? So did he kind of push you down that path?
So he used to be a real estate agent back in the 2008 market crash and decided not to do that anymore. And his whole family, his dad's been a realtor, his stepmom, his stepbrother had their own brokerage back. So his family is very real estate oriented. So when I got my license, or when I decided to start using my license for buying and selling, he decided to renew his license and get back into the field. So for a while, for a few years, we worked as a team, my husband and I. But recently, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we had so many clients that needed things fixed for inspection or things fixed before putting their house on the market. And we couldn't get contractors to come out in time because there's just such a high demand for it. And my husband actually has a lot of experience doing that. So he started his own business to do home repairs and home remodels.
That's so cool because it makes you like this really dynamic like power couple, and you're like, oh, we're walking through this house, like maybe, right? And it's like, oh, you need maybe new countertops or new floor, and you're like, I know a guy.
Yeah, so it's very helpful because he's always kind of squeezing me and my clients into his schedule. He takes very good care of his clients that are not my clients too, but it's kind of nice to have that back and forth, and it really worked out well when we were agents. I'd be like, oh, this color's so pretty, and he'd be like, yeah, but the roof's falling in. So we were able to give two different perspectives. And sometimes when my clients are looking at like a house that maybe is in a little bit rougher shape, they don't know what they're getting into, I can have him still come along with us and kind of give more information to the clients as well too. So,
oh, that's so awesome. That's great that you can offer that.
Yeah. Kind of a nice perk.
Yeah. And oh, wow. I want to go back. So you got a degree in public relations. Am I right?
I do. I have a bachelor's in public relations.
How do you feel like that like sets you up really well to work with people, to be a business owner, all of these things?
Absolutely. I was really surprised when I got my degree in public relations. You have to take a few courses in psychology to understand what is going to get people to connect to your business. And so, I really do find that the public relations and building relationships with people is really helpful. The whole industry has changed. Sales, and everybody thinks that real estate is a sales career because it's commissioned, but it's the biggest legal and financial transaction that most people will deal with in their lives. And making sure that people know that they can trust you, I think is a really important thing. And that's going to come from building relationships, and also building, when you're doing your public relations, making sure that people aren't just seeing you being funny and gimmicky, although I am very funny, but also showing people how you are able to help them, and make sure that their transaction is handled well and to the best of your ability.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about kind of solving the problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And lots of problems come up. Sometimes problems that clients don't even know about, but that's what we're here for, is to troubleshoot what's happening on the back end. when things are happening with title work, where stuff requirements need to be cleared, or things are happening with lending or appraisals, your agent usually is handling a lot of different things on the backside that you don't even see sometimes. It's our job to not let you stress as little as possible. Everybody stresses, but we're trying to keep the stress away from you.
Right.
Because for us, it's an everyday thing. Like, we're like, there's no need to stress about it. But the minute you hear like, oh, there's an issue with title, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't buy the house. It's all over. Like,
right.
But that's not the case. We've got it.
Because most people aren't buying houses every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay to be stressed about it. It's a huge transaction. Why wouldn't you be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do you, other than being like, we got this, how do you kind of carry your clients through the process, like keep their stress down low?
I think the biggest thing is communicating throughout the whole thing. While I'm not necessarily telling them every time a little teeny problem comes up, making sure that they're very clear on where we're at, what to expect. Like, okay, now the appraisal is in, now it's going to underwriting. This usually takes about this length of time, but it can take a little longer. So I'll just keep, and I like to, even if files, my clients' transactions have like kind of got to a point where we're just like waiting on appraisal. It's taking, or they're with a MISHDA down payment assistance, which can take weeks to get through. I like to just check in with them at least, every few days to say, no news yet, but I just wanted to let you know there was no news. So I think communication is really the best way to keep people from really freaking out, so they know what's going on, because they don't know what to expect if you don't tell them.
Exactly. I think that's super valuable. If it were me, I would cherish that, right? Because it is a huge transaction. It's huge financially for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you want to know.
Yeah. What is happening? For us, we're like, oh, it's going to take a week to get the appraisal report back. So I'm not stressed that it's not back yet. But the clients over there like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Right.
They've denied my loan. And that's not what's happening. But if you don't communicate that with them, it can lead to a lot of undue stress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have other considerations like moving,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So you started your own business about a year ago. Congratulations, Oasis Realty.
Yes.
How did you know it was time to start your own brokerage?
So I started it with two lovely ladies who are incredibly smart, Kelly Garrett and Danny Fairman. We were, all three of us, started our careers in larger brokerages like Tommy Raines, Keller Williams, Weicker. We all had positive experiences, but there's definitely a different dynamic. And then we all ended up at a smaller brokerage, which we liked the dynamic of, but that brokerage was getting ready to become a part of EXP, back to the big brokerage, right? So Danny and I had already had a team that we were team leads on. And Kelly, we needed somebody. Danny and I shop a lot, so and we just spend everything. So we really needed another person to really kind of hold us together, do the financials. And so it kind of all clicked together that the three of us would make a good team. We did, consider going to like medium-sized brokerages and interviewed those. But at the end of the day, we couldn't find what we were looking for. So we were like, why don't we make what we're looking for? And that's how Oasis came to be.
I love that. And just so everybody knows, Oasis is in the greater Lansing area, right?
It is, yes. Yep. Our office is actually located on the corner of Waverly and St. Joe. We still service the entire state of Michigan, but we're primarily in the greater Lansing area.
That's awesome. And what do you love about selling in Lansing?
Well, I was born and raised in Lansing. I've lived in Lansing my entire life except for a small time in Hazlet. I know. But I was managing a property out there. So I just love that I've been able to watch the city change and evolve. And then I'm able to really help my clients, especially people moving to the area who don't know anything about it, to help guide them and give them that experience and knowledge that I have accidentally didn't even realize I was acquiring over 26 years. I'm kidding. I'm totally older than that, but
I love that. And there is a lot of movement into this area with the university and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. We get a lot of movement into the area from the university. You get students that are going there that decide to make their careers here, or grad students that are going to be here for programs for a few years. So it's nice to be able to work with them, and they're like, oh, I don't really know anything about where's this, what highways am I looking at, like would this be a quick commute, and you can kind of convey that information to them and help them to find the right place.
Yeah, they got to get used to these Michigan roads.
Oh, yeah. Don't tell them about 496 and how it's been under construction forever.
Yeah.
And it's going back under construction.
So speaking of your community, you are involved in the community a lot, especially with Oasis. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we one of the things that was really important to the three of us, Kelly, Danny, and I, when starting Oasis, is we wanted to make sure that we were giving back to the community. That's really important to us, and we think that it really helps to show, to build that respect that we want people to have in the community. Like, we're trusted, we care about others, and we do so much. Kelly serves time on the city planning committee for Charlotte because she really cares about what's going on there and making sure, that she's looking out for the best interest of the residents. Danny is really invested in Holt Public Schools, especially the arts program. She's very supportive of those. Both of her kids are in the arts programs there, so she really loves to do that. And then myself, I'm a little bit all over the place, but my biggest thing is animal welfare. I used to work in animal welfare, so it's really important to me, especially because I want to make sure that people are housing is a lot of reasons the animals actually end up at the shelter. People can't take them to their apartments that they're moving into. So I felt like that really kind of intertwines with what we do with housing. But I also serve on the library board because I love to read. And so I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that I'm giving back to the community as well. And that's our Oasis. We all find that to be a top priority for us.
I love that. I think that's really important too. And you're benefiting, the community you're in, you're getting your name out there. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It does get our name out there. We want to make sure that people know that there's an option and a place. If that is something that's important to them, like finding somebody that's involved in the community, and maybe somebody that has similar values to them, we want to make sure that they know that we're there.
Right. And you get out and you do events sometimes, right?
Yes. Okay. So Danny is I don't know if you know this, but she used to have a podcast that was really popular here in Lansing. It used to be called So Dead, and now it's called Violent Ends. I know this sounds crazy, but so she's actually kind of a local celebrity of the spooky stuff. So we do a ton of events in October, like trunk or treats, and we have shirts that say we sell haunted houses. So it's kind of our October. We usually start in September with the Festival of Oddities in Charlotte, and then so September and October are our spooky season where you see our blood drip logo and stuff. So we get really into it because we have a lot of clients that are really into it, and it's kind of our thing. So that's our big event season is October. But we do events all times of the year. We go to the Lansing Bridal Show, which is a lot of fun, getting to see people when their lives are just like this exciting event has happened and their lives are just kind of starting to intertwine with the person that they're going to be with, hopefully for the rest of their life. So that's a fun one. We do that twice a year. The bridal show is really great. And then we try to be at other community events throughout, like Touch of Trucks and the Best of Lansing, just to get to meet people. I think it's really nice to go out in the community and get a chance to meet so many new people. So.
Yeah. And it's great for them too, because if you are looking to buy or sell a house, it can be really daunting, and you might not know how to find someone to know how to trust them. And it's, if they've met you at an event, that's so great because you've started to build that relationship even before they were ever ready.
Absolutely. Because I'm going to say everybody knows a realtor, and it's kind of a running joke in the real estate community. If you post on Facebook that you're looking for a realtor, you will literally get 150 comments from realtors and people that know realtors. And how do you decide out of those 150 which one is the right one for you? it's impossible. Like, so we want to make sure that we're out there meeting people, so they don't just see somebody tagged us in a Facebook post with 149 other agents, but they know who we are, they know what we have to offer, and hopefully that's a good fit for them. If it's not, like, everybody has, we understand that we're not always going to be the right agent for everybody. Everybody's different, but we want people to have the opportunity to know us and make that decision and not just go by the 150 comments on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you guys do have some like unique things to offer. We were talking before, I would call you like the pet real estate agent.
Thank you. So, I will take that title.
Tell everybody about what you do for your buyers and sellers with pets.
So we want to make sure that they're really comfortable with moving. So we give them information. I have a trainer that has typed up information on how to help them best move and acclimate to the new home. We want to make sure that we're helping clients when they're going to do showings, like giving them tips on how to make things comfortable for their pets if they do have to be left in the house, because it can be very daunting for pets to have strangers coming in. My people aren't here, but this random person comes in, and some people are afraid of you, so they're feeling like that anxiety. And then some people are like, I'm going to pet you even though you're giving me signs that you don't want to be petted. And that's a lot for pets to deal with. And I think people don't think about it very often, but I do. I think about it all the time. So I want to make sure that when you are moving, when you're listing your house with a pet or you're moving into your new home, that we're considering them as well. That's very important to me. If you're buying a house, what are we looking for? Do you need a fenced-in yard because you have a dog that's running? Does your cat need a bay window to be in the sun? It's totally okay to say my cat wouldn't like this house, and I'm not going to laugh at you. I'm going to be like, let's find the next one. It's just really, to me and my family, pets have always been part of your family. And having worked in animal welfare, I just grew such a love for these furry beings and how much they give us. And I think that it's really important to consider them when you're moving. So that's my goal, is to help people with that.
I love that. And so what are some of like the top tips and tricks for maybe when you're selling with pets that are in the home?
Yeah, I think the best thing is if you can find somewhere for them to go so that they're not left in the house. That can be a very daunting situation for them, and getting them out of the house. But if you can't get them out of the house, making sure that you're communicating with other agents that they're there and giving boundaries. Please leave them in. Don't touch them. Don't let them out of their crate, or they're going to be in a crate. If you have to leave them in a crate, covering it so they're not necessarily seeing so much of the action that's going on, and trying to put them in a place where they feel like it's more of a cave for them. Cats having high places to go so they can get away from stranger danger, and communicating like, please don't let them out, because sometimes pets can get out of the house if people aren't careful. So making sure that you're very communicative with the other agents, and the boundaries that the pets have if you do have to leave them in the home is really important.
That's great advice. What I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Happens to me all the time.
What is important about like photos and pets? Like, is it important to kind of in the photos like make it seem like you don't have a pet?
Yes. I think when we were talking before, I told the story about I went to somebody's house and I asked them to move the cat bowl out of the picture, which I love that WindowStill puts that on their list of things to do to prep for moving, getting your home ready for photos. And the client accused me of being a cat hater because I wanted the cat bowl out of the picture, and I'm like, clearly you don't know me. I'm not a cat hater. But I think it's important to remember that not everybody loves pets. And having those pet things in the photos can sometimes make people instantly think like, oh, the house is going to smell, or the house is going to be like scratched up from cat claw marks, or the floors are going to be rough from having a dog. And those may not be the case. There are a lot of people that live happily with animals that haven't destroyed and made your house super smelly, but it's a mindset. that some people have. So when you're listing a house and you do have pets, to give yourself the best chance of getting that house under contract, we definitely talk about getting those things out of the photos and kind of getting them out of sight and out of mind when people are doing their walkthroughs as well, which is another great reason why if you can take your pets with you, you should.
Right. That's great advice. But what would you say? I'm not speaking personally or anything about people who have aquariums. Like, how does that affect anything?
Oh, you know what? I'm not a real big fish expert, although I love Prue's pets.
Yeah.
They're the best. I mean, I think people think fish look cool. So
Okay.
like, I mean, if you have a really nice aquarium display, that might be a selling point to some people. I mean, but you're probably taking it with you, right? You can't have my fish, but this looks really cool, right? It's amazing because you see like small animals or like snakes or guinea pigs and stuff, which are hard to travel with. So you'll see people get really sidetracked by them. And you have to kind of focus your client all the time. Like, the snake is not coming with the house. I need you to focus. So that can be a little bit tricky, but those are good situations where if it's comfortable for the animals to cover them up so that they're not sidetracking people, that can be helpful as well.
I would think like lizards and snakes especially.
Yeah.
They kind of give people the ick.
Yeah. Not to throw Danny under the bus, but she's terrified of snakes. So I could just see her like, be like, we're leaving.
Oh, goodness. Speaking of your team, you guys also do a lot of mentoring. Can we talk about how you mentor newer agents?
Yeah, absolutely. We, when we started our brokerage, not only were we concerned about making sure it was a place that our clients were getting what they needed, but we wanted to make sure that we were giving agents what they needed. And a lot of times you can go to the bigger brokerages, get a lot of great training, but there are other things that sometimes you're looking for, which is that close-knit family vibe, which is what we try to have. And as new agents come on, we try to give them the opportunity to mentor with us, taking them to showings, taking them to closings, giving them an idea of what things are like. Because sometimes when you start at a brokerage, they're just like, you've got your license now, you're an independent contractor, go forth and sell houses, and that's it. Like, you're just supposed to figure it out on your own. Or you take the classes and you learn all the things, but you never get any hands-on experience. So for us, it's really important to take you with us everywhere if you want to go. But also be available. Between the three of us, Kelly, Danny, and I, that we love having three of us because that means that we're always available always available for questions, which is something we're really glad that we can give to our agents.
That's awesome, especially because it can be so isolating, kind of that entrepreneurial experience.
Yeah, and the market moves so fast right now. So if you're like in a heist and best situation on a weekend and you're like, I don't know what to do, I've never been in this situation before, like, should I do an escalation clause, should I do this, because you're newer to it, and the deadline's 8 p.m. What are you supposed to do? Be like, my broker isn't available, so we're just gonna wing it. Like, we don't want our agents to ever be in that situation. We want them to be able to have us to lean on so that they can best support their clients as well. And when new agents start with us, they're like, how do I convince people? Are like, oh no, you've never had a deal before. You've only had one deal before. Why would I work with you? And we let them know, you tell them that you have us, these awesome people backing you up.
That's so powerful to be able to be like, listen, you can trust me because I have not just me, but all of this awesome experience behind me. That's
Absolutely.
Really empowering for a new agent and for their client as well.
Yes, because it is hard to start as a new agent. You know, it's hard to build that trust and get somebody to actually want to give you a chance when you've never done it before. So knowing that you have a great support team that's going to be there with you every step of the way, your first transaction is not going to be one where we're just like, good luck, and we'll let you know, like, at the end what paperwork you didn't fill out right, which is essentially that's all a broker is required to do, is just tell you didn't do your paperwork right. Or that's all they're required by law to do. But for us, we want to be there with you every step of the way. Like, we are going to walk through the paperwork with you as you're filling it out, make sure you're doing it correct. Make sure you're not accidentally putting in terms that your clients don't want to agree to, because the clients aren't familiar with the paperwork. They don't know what they're signing, and you can walk them through it, step by step, but a lot of times they're just trusting you, and they're like, I can't tell you how many times I get clients that are like, I trust you, I'll sign it. And I'm like, no, please read through it. Please read through it. Like, I'm human. I make mistakes too. So always read through your paperwork, no matter how much you trust your agent. But we want to make sure that when there are people that are just blindly signing things because they trust their agent, that their agent is doing the right thing too. So.
Right. And what are you looking for in those new agents that come to you as someone who's a good mentee?
Absolutely. We are looking for, I'm a big believer that skill can be taught, but it's really more about personality. So for us, we're looking for people that have, great energy, really are looking for that family vibe that we have, but also people that understand that the real estate is not an easy, it's just not easy. A lot of people think, oh, I'll make some quick cash doing real estate, and that is not the case. It's a lot of work. You have the marketing end, just trying to get clients, and then it's a very serious once you get those clients and you get them under contract, again, it's a very big legal and financial transaction. So being smart, willing to learn, and willing to understand the responsibility that you're taking on, and making sure that you're having your client's best interest at heart and not just trying to get people under contract so that you can make money. So those are the things that we're looking for that make the best mentees, like people that are willing to put in the work, and people that have, good integrity, and really want to help their clients and not just obviously we all want to make money. Right. That's why we do what we do, but not just push clients into, I call it the used car salesman vibe, where I'm sure there are a lot of nice used car salesmen. This is kind of like a 1970s used car salesman. Industry has changed, but to not just push people into a sale, just to push people into a sale.
Yeah. And that seems like that kind of mindset of caring about your clients, of all of those things, excuse me, is something that's going to lead to longevity in this career with its highs and lows.
Absolutely. It leads to, you're building that rapport. Those clients may need to sell that house again in a year when they get a job transfer. They may need to sell it in 5 years when they're ready to move to a bigger house. Their best friend may be looking for a house. And if they've had a positive experience where they have trusted you and you have given them your best effort, and you have guided them in the best way possible, and even told them, like, I know this sounds stupid, but I don't think you should do this. Like, I don't think you should buy this house, or I don't, because it has these issues, and this isn't, you've told me 100 times that you want to make sure you absolutely have a second bathroom and this one doesn't have it, or, just making sure that you're very honest with your clients. That all leads to them feeling like, wow, they really went above and beyond for me, even when it wasn't in their best interest. And that leads to referrals, because people know that they can really trust you. So again, hopefully they're not, you don't have to rely on being one of 150 agents on a Facebook page trying to get a client. You can get those clients that know and trust you, recommending you to the people that they know.
Awesome. And that's what, if I was an agent, that's what I would want. I would want that word of mouth reputation.
Absolutely. Yes.
So one of your other loves in real estate is historic homes.
Yes. Yes. I absolutely love historic homes. It's probably how I ended up in real estate. So before I was a realtor, I used to go to open houses and pretend like I was looking for houses just so I could see the inside of people's houses.
Valid.
Not like their stuff, not creepy like that. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I love this kitchen. Oh my gosh, I love this. Like I just really love architecture and home styles and real estate. Like I just really love it. Yeah. So my husband and I, historic homes, if we're on vacation somewhere, I'll always look to see what historic homes are near that we can look at. But we have taken a trip to the Northeast, specifically so that I could go see a bunch of historic homes. And I'm really big into the decor and stuff. And he's really big into wow, things aren't built the way they used to be. Totally. This is really solid. And so we have, it's one thing that we both really love. And so we go wherever we're at in the country, we try to check out the historic homes that are around. I still have a huge bucket list of places that I want to see, but I'm trying to knock them off little by little.
What's been your favorite so far?
So I would say, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Seven Gables house. It was a Nathaniel Hawthorne book, in Salem, Massachusetts. And that one's probably been my favorite. It was really cool. They even took out, like, in the book, the book was based off the house, but it wasn't 100% accurate to the house. So they took out, long ago, the fireplace, made a secret staircase in the house and stuff. And like, I love secret hiding places. Totally. And like, I've always wanted to have one of those bookcases that like opens and it's really a door.
Oh yeah.
I just need a big mansion so I can make a bunch of hidey holes. But yeah, I loved that house. It was beautiful. Mark Twain's house in Connecticut was probably up there in my top. It was just so massive, and the staircase and the woodwork was just, the articulation in the woodwork was just stunning. I really loved that too. So, but yeah, I've seen a lot of fun ones, and I really want to see more. So,
do you have a next stop on your list?
Okay, so for my birthday, we're going to Chicago, and there's one that somebody recommended to me, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it's on our list. We're going there. So
awesome.
I think it's like the Lumen. I don't know. I'll have to update you once I've seen it.
Yes, please do.
But it's actually one of the appraisers in the area that mentioned it to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm gonna go see it.
Got to have those connections,
right?
Hooked up.
Appraisers know what houses you need to see. So, thank you, Beth Graham.
And there are some cool ones in Michigan too. Like I've been to Meadowbrook Hall and the Turner Dodge Mansion, which is local to Lansing.
Yeah, the Turner Dodge house. I've actually been there. It's haunted, just so you know. I had a haunted experience there.
Did you know?
What? Yes. So, crazy story. So, well, I didn't specifically have it myself, but somebody I was with. So they do a festival of trees where you decorate trees, and the animal shelter does a tree every year. And if you talk to the lady that runs the place, she has this story about how the house used to, like, she could hear a bell all the time. And I heard this story like long ago. It's in a book called Haunted Lansing by Jen Carpenter. She was Danny's co-host on the So Dead podcast.
Oh.
Back to the creepy stuff, right? Anyway, she in the story, she talks about how there's bells ringing. So my friend was going to take down our Christmas tree, and she thought I was there, and she was in the house, just her and the lady that were that run the house. And she was like, I just heard the doorbell, and I think Ashley's there. Ashley's downstairs to help me take down the tree. And the lady was like, we don't have a doorbell, it's a buzzer. And she's like, no, it was definitely a bell. And she's like, oh, you heard bells, right? So my friend was like, what the heck? And then I told her the story about how it's in the book that people will hear bells in the house even though the bells aren't really there. So
Creepy.
It's crazy, right? Yeah, there's a lot of really great historic homes around here, and there's another like house in Mason, the Jewett house. That's a beautiful house, and that's not open to the public. It was privately bought recently, but there's just a lot of great houses even in Lansing that are beautiful to look at. So yeah, I just love historic homes.
Yeah, and you have kind of a historic home yourself, right?
Kind of. So I'm a really big fan of mid-century modern. So our house, my husband we bought like 4 years ago, almost 5, and it was just like, it was crazy gross. It had like a lot of cats in it previously, and it was like very overgrown and everything, but we're big mid-century modern fans. So my husband has been doing amazing work. He did like 2 months of work before we moved into it, and now he's been like working on it as we just have our big bathroom left, which if anybody has a line for, like, if anybody knows of a mid-century modern bathroom vanity or a desk or dresser that can be turned into a vanity, please message me ASAP, because this is the only thing holding us back from finishing this bathroom. But it's been a great fun thing to do together over the last 5 years, is like figuring out like, how do we modernize the house but keep the mid-century modern integrity to it, because it's got these huge floor to ceiling windows and stuff, really has that beautiful mid-century modern vibe in the woodwork, but it's also like, this stuff is old, it's dated, some of it was ruined when we got in, so it's like, do we try to find authentic stuff to replace it with, or do we update it a little bit? It's been a challenge, but a great love that we have just enjoyed doing. So
I love that you're keeping the essence of it no matter what, like whether you update it for functionality or not, the essence is still there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we want to do. Like, we did take out some of the original features because they were just rough, but we're trying to. I was like, let's rip out the whole kitchen, and my husband's like, you really want to get rid of these mid-century modern cabinets? I'm like, no, I love them. So we're working around it, even though I think the kitchen could be a more functional shape, but sometimes you got to compromise to keep the awesomeness of the mid-century modern. But we live in such a great area for mid-century modern too. I mean, there's even Frank Lloyd Wright houses in Okemos. There's a huge like Lantern Hill in East Lansing is a street that has, I can't remember the name of the architect, but like a huge row of mid-century modern houses that are just beautiful. And some people have done some amazing updates out there. I've seen a few that have been listed, and I'm like,
you're tempted.
Right? I'm like, whoo. So yeah, I think we live in a great community for mid-century modern, and Michigan is a great state for it too. So
that's so cool. Well, Ashley, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with everyone?
We would be happy at Oasis to chat with anybody that's looking to buy or sell their home and see if we're the right fit, and any agents that are looking for a new home. We would love to chat with them too. Other than that, we're just really excited to be starting our second year at Oasis, and I'm very thrilled to be working with two amazing ladies and a great team of agents. So
that's awesome. Congratulations. How can people find you?
You can find Oasis Realty at oasisrealty.llc. My phone number is 517-574-9902. And I'm on Facebook as Ashley Smith Lansing Realtor. So feel free to, I'm on there like every day. I love to put up controversial things like, would you buy a pink kitchen, a house with a pink kitchen? And it gets really heated. So feel free to jump in on the conversations. I love being on Facebook and interacting with the community in that way when you can't be out every day.
Right.
Like it's so much fun to like see some of the things that people are brave enough to say when they're on there. Like, whew, gets ugly, but I love it. I love the interaction.
Totally.
Not the meanness about pink kitchens.
No. Well,
which, by the way, did anybody else notice that Barbie's house in Barbie's the movie is mid-century modern? I was so excited about that, and
I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah,
and look.
you go back and watch it. And I was so excited in the theater, and my kids are like, "Calm down, it's gonna be fine." But I was like, "It's mid-century modern."
That's so fun. Well,
yeah,
thank you.
Check it out.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And thank you all for joining us at the Closing Table podcast. I'm your host, Kat Schooler. Please make sure you're following us on Apple and Spotify. And if you're part of our YouTube audience, give us that like and subscribe. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave us a comment or review. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.